sweet friends, and welcome back to Sarah's Homemade Home. This is kind of an update, I guess you can say. Here we are back at the onion bed. I have one of the boys out here with me. Marshall is inside finishing up his arithmetic homeschool. So many of you guys had questions about onions. I wish that I was the smartest person in the world about onions, but I am truly not. However, my husband and I have learned several things over the past, I'm going to say 6 to 8 years on growing onions, and I am going to link some videos for you guys because I am a 100% advocate of there's other people who are a whole lot smarter than me that know how to do these things. His name is Farmer Bruce, and he is the representative, I'm going to say, of Dixondale Farms, where we actually get our onion sets from. So I'm trying to do my part here and just give you guys a very small education lesson in onions, okay? I made myself a couple of little notes, so yes, you're going to see me kind of looking at a piece of notebook paper, but I think that these are 3 very important things that need to be covered. There is 3 different ways that you yourself can grow onions. You can do it by seed, you can do it by starts or plants, which is what we do, or onion sets. Onion sets is what you are going to find at your local seed store, at your hardware stores. It's what we used to get in years past. And Mr. Bruce, I'm going to link this video, is going to give you a very detailed explanation on what the difference is between the actual starts and plants that his farm sells and then sets that you get at the hardware store. Essentially, onions are a biannual grown plant. And you can't just put out onion sets that you get from the hardware store and expect them to have a growth this season. What this man says makes a whole lot of sense because he knows what he's talking about when it comes to onions. So yes, we grow onion starts and plants. That is why ours are extreme. Saying all of that, we're back out here at our onion bed, and yes, last year we grew around 1,000 onions. So a few of you have messaged me and asked me about onions, and I love this. I think it's so sweet and it's so precious, and I love your questions, and ask me questions anytime you want to because I'm happy to tell you anything and everything that I know. I took some notes here for you guys, but I feel like the big difference that people don't understand with onions is there's 3 things. We can grow onions 3 ways, let me say that. You can grow them as a seed, we can grow them as a start or a plant, or we can grow them as a set, okay? What I have behind me is a plant or a start. We're gonna call it a start for the sake of my video. I have never grown onions from a seed. I have never had success with them, but I would have needed to start those seeds about 6 or 8 weeks ago in my basement using our grow lights. I could totally do it that way. I've never done it that way. Starts and plants is what I get from Dixondale Farms. Now, Mr. Bruce, I am going to link some of his videos for you below. Mr. Bruce, I will give credit where credit is due, and this man deserves all the credit in the world. He has probably grown millions upon millions of onions. This is what their family business is. This is why we continue to buy from them every year, because their product is just phenomenal. There is other seed companies like Johnny's Seed Company and that sell very similar, like you can get onion starts from other nurseries, but the question that you guys have is like the onions that you get at your local hardware store or co-ops or things, those are onion sets. That is totally different. So the whole the whole story of onions is onions are a biannual plant, okay? So their whole little lifespan, they are to go from a seed, they are to start to grow in the ground, then they are to bulb, which means that they are trying to produce their seeds to continue on their legend of living as an onion, okay? If you plant them from seed, like I said, you should have started about 6 to 8 weeks ago, which is great, that's fine. But we should have started a long time ago and we didn't. Starts and plants, that's what you are seeing planted behind me, and that's what we have always got. That by definition is a field-grown fresh seedling grown in the current season. Now, when you go back to the little life of the onion and it's a biannual, This is why it matters for the onion sets, okay? The sets is what you guys are finding at the hardware stores, at the co-ops, at the local places, and why you are continuing to have non-success growing onions is because they are a dry, immature onion bulb that was grown the season before. They are technically in the second year of growth, and they are biologically primed to produce seeds or bolting. If you find those at your hardware store, and this is what we're going to try to grow, I'm not going to knock it. Everybody grows these at least a couple of times, and then you kind of figure out these can't be can't be grown and they don't do well. Choose the onions that are no bigger than a size of a dime. The larger ones are prone to bolt. Why those don't typically work is they've already had a season that they've been grown in the ground. Those onions are going to try to produce very small onions, and they are going to try to produce more seeds. Once you kind of understand the nature of what you were planting and why you were planting it, you understand, well, no wonder I planted these things and all they ever got to was kind of like the size of the green onions that you get in the grocery store. Well, that's kind of their lifespan, and that's what they're trying to grow. So it's not a bad thing. I love the green onions from the grocery store. They are delicious, but it's not the big, huge, I mean, we get bloomin' onion, massive size onions grown from these beautiful little onion plants or seedlings. This is another huge moment that I will absolutely give to my husband and his smarts for planning this out. When you go to Dixondale Farm, they're on their website. I'm telling you, they have thought of everything, and this is why we choose to use them year after year after year. There is intermediate day, short day, and long day. All of those onion varieties are based on where you live. They have a map where you put your zip code into the system, and it will tell you when your onion should be shipped to you and planted based on your last frost date, okay? We sign up. I do not know how fast the shipping is for Dixondale Farm, so we always place our order at the beginning of the year for our onions to arrive at this particular time, because this is when they are needed to plant. When my little onion plants, these that you are seeing here, arrive, there is already about 3 to 4 leaves already started on these little onion starts, okay? The perfect onion, this is what Farmer Bruce, the videos that I want you guys to watch, the perfect onion has 13 layers, okay? Because of the time, the perfect onion, it needs to start and have about 91 days until it is ready to quote-unquote bulb. Where I live, and this is another question, I live in East Tennessee, and we are in Zone 6. We definitely kind of get all of the seasons here where we live. But I live in a particular county, and it is called Granger County, Tennessee. And if you have ever heard of us, we are absolutely worldwide known for our tomatoes, okay? Why we plant our onions when we plant it is my onions behind me are going to be ready here when my field tomatoes are ready. Now, my husband is not a tomato farmer. We live around all of the wonderful tomato farms, but I truly have access to the best tomatoes in the world, and I can I would say anywhere between 100 and 150 quarts of just tomato sauce every year. That's how crazy about tomatoes that we are. So all of my onions, this is why I plant them so early around Valentine's Day, is because I want all of these to be ready and me be able to harvest them in my canning season. So that is a product that is extremely important to me and my family, and that's why we have gathered this. With that, I say it is never too late to order onions. You can order onions from Dixondale Farm today. They will ship to you at any time. Even in my zone, I could still plant onions May, June, July, August, even September. They will grow. They will grow at any of those times, but it's not going to be the perfect onion and have the 13 layers. How many layers, are you going to ask, will each onion grow? Every 2 weeks, the onion will put on a new leaf, which is a new layer of the onion. So that is kind of your mathematical equation you can do you can figure out in your head. Even if you planted these, you know, later on in June or July, they would still grow. They would just not be the massive 13-layer onion because we don't have enough daytime left. So I absolutely encourage you, go on the Dixondale Farm website, place your order. Find your zip code though, and that for next year, go ahead and start planning. Get yourself I have a loving, Marshall is over here riding his bicycle. I have a loving notebook that is my garden notebook, and I have started this thing from the very beginning. The property where we live, we got this land in 2018, and we started a garden in 2018, and I have written down every seed that we have planted, where we have planted it, what was successful and what failed. Same thing with our onions. We have tried a ton of the varieties at Dixondale Farms, and some of them I really like, and some of them I honestly wasn't that crazy about. They didn't grow that great for us. But that's not to say that it is a bad variety. Some that we have had success with, we always kind of share onions with people who we know. Jake's Uncle Alan, my husband, his name is Jake. His Uncle Alan, wonderful gardener, and he grew the patooties out of some of these that we could not grow. And he literally lives just, 10 miles from us, I'm gonna say. So it really just depends on where exactly your onions are at your home in your garden area. As you can see here, this is the front of our house. We are the Clampetts, and we have our garden here in our front yard, but that's what works for us here on our property. So we have had the garden in probably 3 other places before we moved it up here, and then we have our larger garden that's further down here in the front yard. But you have to try and try again in order to become successful, and 100% goes with gardening. I will always be encouraging to you guys on starting your garden and being successful in your garden, even if you are starting with raised beds. We're going to cover those. Hopefully this weekend he is supposed to get me some of our compost out with a tractor and go put it on our raised beds. That's kind of my little kitchen garden, but that is a wonderful place for people to start gardening and learning about just working in the dirt and what is possible and what isn't possible, and just having fun and enjoying it. Number one thing I can tell you is I love being outside. I love being outdoors. There is such a peace in growing the things that the Lord has provided and watching them grow and flourish. And if you have kids, I will absolutely wholeheartedly support you gardening, because it's so important for them to learn where their food comes from, how hard work it is to grow your own food. It's really important for them. So from my heart, from my garden to yours, I hope that this answers a few more of your onion questions. If you have more questions, feel free to ask me. I will do my best, honestly, to answer them. But go watch Farmer Bruce's videos on Dixondale Farms. I'm telling you, that man will tell you anything and everything you ever wanted to know about growing onions. He knows his stuff. But I love you guys. I hope you are happy, healthy, and well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.